Hello, everyone. So earlier this year, I launched a project management business with the goal of helping homeowners looking to build their house through that process, help them manage their risk, make better decisions, make the process more enjoyable, and create more value for them. The reason I wanted to do this is because I felt like it'd be an excellent learning experience for me. And hello, Charlie speaking. Where was I? Okay, so the reason I wanted to start the business was because I felt like it would be a good way to get a lot of experience and work on projects which I wouldn't be able to tender for as a builder. You know, some of the projects, the amazing houses that some of the great architects design, it's a tough sell for me to go in as a builder. Whether it's because of my age, my experience, or just my ability, let's be honest. So I felt like if I were to go in as a project manager, as a client's rep, I felt like I would have a better chance at getting exposure to those projects that I want to be eventually be building and developing. The downside to this business idea was that it doesn't really make much commercial sense. So it's not very commercially viable in terms of the amount of revenue you can generate. I saw very early on that there is a value perception issue where I felt like retail customers or homeowners just wouldn't see the value of hiring a project manager. I'm not saying that as in, oh, you guys are blind, you can't see the value. I believe in the market. So if the market doesn't want it, then it's not valuable. So knowing this, I understood that I had to underprice my service in order to get the work and get the ultimately the experience that I wanted from this endeavor. So it's been, I think it's about 6 months now, I'm not too sure, and I haven't gotten any inquiries from homeowners. So, I've met plenty of architects, I've made a lot of great industry connections. I've tried to get work through architects and it just hasn't happened. I just haven't gotten anything. And granted, I haven't been pushing it. I haven't run ads about it. One way I'm trying to tackle this issue is by addressing the information gap. So in this video, I really want to talk about what project management is in my eyes for homeowners for residential building. My role as a project manager when I'm working with a client is the number one thing is for me to guide the client through the process, to help them define what their goals and their value structure is and find the best way to achieve those goals given the limited resources that we have for that project. The fact is, as a homeowner, building a house isn't a very nice retail experience. You're essentially going to be the head of this temporary organization of your architect, your 8, 10 other consultants, your builder, your council, but other regulatory bodies. You got your building surveyor. There's just so many things going on, and ultimately you are the head of this organization. So a lot of homeowners go into building a house or doing a little development feeling like they deserve or they're entitled to this great retail experience when it's really more a heavily commercial environment that you have to navigate through and you have to manage this team of people. And the truth is, all that takes a lot of time and resources if you want to be able to manage your risk, mitigate risk, and get the best result possible. And more so if you don't have the industry knowledge or the experience. So my job is to bridge that gap, is to guide the client through navigating this management process, by helping the client manage this temporary organization, this team, by, giving them well-informed advice and just helping them manage this team with context for the whole project. The thing is, everyone working on this team has the best intentions for you. I firmly believe that. Whether it's your architect, your builder, your building surveyor, they all want you to succeed on this project. But their vision of success for you may be very different to what your version of success is for this project. The fact is, each individual consultant, your engineer, your architect, your builder, they only have a slither of your vision. They don't know everything else about this project. So it's impossible for them to be fully aligned with your goals. As the project manager, it's my job to really well define what the project's values and goals are, and to make sure and to try to communicate that through to every single project team member as clearly as possible. And even if they don't get it, make sure that the work that they're doing or the attitude that they're taking to do their part of the project aligns with us. And that can be a really difficult thing to do, you know, but it's so important, because if you don't do that, then you have breakdowns at every single turn. And there's many, many steps to building a house, you know, as you can imagine. And you can see where the problem is, because everything that I've said just then sounds super wishy-washy. It's all sounds like ideological, philosophical, high-level idea. And it's too strategic and not tactical enough. So it becomes a pretty hard sell, right? I'm just trying to be empathetic, you know. I think that's one reason why I've found this difficult, is because, you know, one, homeowners don't even know what project management is because the concept is so foreign. And two, if they hear about the idea or if they take the time to read through my website, it's a tough sell. It's hard for them to realize the value or see the value the same way that I do. But if you just look at the statistics, I was talking to Samson and John from One Design Office a couple videos back, and they were saying that, you know, more than 80% of residential projects aren't specified properly before going to construction. So from my perspective, you know, as a project manager, I'm thinking, if we haven't even picked every light fitting and we haven't picked the exact paint color, spec of the windows and the joinery finishes before we tender out the project to the builder, you know, how can we get accurate pricing, let's say from 3 different builders, if they're all basing their price on 3 different sets of assumptions? How can we have a relatively pain-free build process if we have to build and design and fix at the same time? A million decisions on top of the thousands of decisions that we already have to make. You know, you create openings for uncertainty. You know, I believe the biggest risk in building and why it's so risky is there's so much uncertainty. There's so many factors that we can't control. As managers of the project, why are we creating more points of uncertainty? Because as soon as you add more uncertainty to an already uncertain environment, you're only compounding the risk of that uncertainty. And maybe I'm getting something wrong, but like that's how I see it. And I mean, if you look at the commercial space, for example, it's very common for developers to have project managers, you know, especially on larger projects. I think once you get to a certain point, I think it's a legal requirement to have a third-party superintendent. Even from just a pure commercial standpoint, it makes sense to commercial developers to have either in-house or external project management. So I guess to summarize, I started this project management business. It's not doing well. I'd say it's failing. The issues that I've identified as to why it's failing are, I haven't communicated exactly what the service is, I think. Also, it's difficult for homeowners to see the value which I see, you know, and I don't think I'm delusional about the value proposition, even though I am biased, but maybe I am, I don't know. So, I mean, let me know, guys. I'm very open to discussing with you guys this topic and seeing where it takes us. Thank you again for joining me. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Take care.